something big just happened beneath the ocean's surface, and Russia noticed. Two massive American nuclear submarines suddenly appeared near Russian waters, carrying enough firepower to level entire cities. This wasn't some routine patrol either. This was a direct message sent through the most intimidating weapons platform on Earth. But what kind of technology allows these underwater giants to remain completely undetected while carrying such devastating weapons? And how does moving just two submarines send such a powerful message? Join us as we dive deep into the incredible engineering and strategic capabilities that make these submarines the most feared weapons on the planet. President Donald Trump has ordered the deployment of two United States nuclear submarines to areas near Russia. The decision follows comments from Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, which Trump described as provocative. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the submarines were being positioned just in case. The inflammatory statements are more than just that. The president didn't get into specifics about which submarines the Navy deployed, but all signs point to a pair of Ohio-class boats making the move. Here is the thing about the Ohio-class. They come in two distinct variants. There is the guided missile version packed with Tomahawks, and then there's the ballistic missile variant carrying Trident nukes. Given the goal was deterring Russia, it's a pretty safe bet the Navy sent the nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarines. Makes sense when thinking about it. If the mission is deterrence, conventional cruise missiles don't carry the same psychological weight as intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads. The Ohio-class boomers represent America's sea-based nuclear deterrent, exactly the kind of message that gets Moscow's attention. Each of these subs can stay submerged for months, making them nearly impossible to track once they disappear beneath the waves. That uncertainty factor is huge in strategic deterrence. Russian naval commanders know these boats are out there somewhere, but pinning down their exact location, that's a whole different challenge. The timing and deployment patterns suggest this wasn't just routine patrol positioning either. When tensions escalate, moving nuclear submarines sends a very clear diplomatic signal without saying a single word publicly. The Ohio-class represents the backbone of America's underwater nuclear fleet. 14 ballistic missile submarines plus 4 cruise missile variants. When submerged, each one tips the scales at 18,750 tons, making them the biggest submarines the United States Navy has ever built. Armament varies depending on the mission. The ballistic missile boats pack 24 Trident II missiles, while the cruise missile versions carry 22 BGM-109 Tomahawks each. Either way, that's serious firepower lurking beneath the waves. Size-wise, only 2 classes have ever been bigger. The Russian Navy's massive Typhoon class weighed in at 48,000 tons during the Soviet era, though the last one got retired in 2023. Russia's newer Bore-class submarines clock in at 24,000 tons, putting them between the Typhoons and Ohio boats. Here's what makes the Ohio-class SSBNs particularly important. They are one leg of America's nuclear triad, working alongside Air Force strategic bombers and land-based ICBMs. Those 14 ballistic missile subs carry roughly half of all active United States strategic thermonuclear warheads. That's a staggering amount of destructive capability spread across the world's oceans. The targeting system works differently from what most people imagine. When these boats head out on patrol, their Trident missiles don't have preset targets loaded in. Instead, the United States Strategic Command in Nebraska can assign targets in real time through secure radio links, including very low-frequency systems that can penetrate deep underwater. It's a setup that maintains both flexibility and constant readiness. This submarine represents a massive engineering achievement with its impressive dimensions and weight specifications that showcase the scale of modern naval warfare technology. When surfaced, the vessel displaces over 16,700 tons, but this figure increases significantly to nearly 18,750 tons when submerged and fully operational. The submarine stretches an incredible 560 feet in length while maintaining a beam of 42 feet and a maximum draft of 35.5 feet, creating a profile that balances stealth capabilities with internal space requirements. The propulsion system centers around a single S-8G pressurized water reactor that provides virtually unlimited operational range, making this submarine capable of extended missions without refueling concerns. Two powerful geared turbines generate an impressive 35,000 shaft horsepower, while backup systems include a Fairbanks-Morse auxiliary diesel engine and a 325 horsepower auxiliary motor that ensures continued operation during emergencies. All this power transfers through a single shaft equipped with a 7-bladed propeller that maximizes efficiency and reduces noise signatures underwater. Performance capabilities reveal the true potential of this underwater vessel, with surface speeds reaching 12 knots and official submerged speeds of 20 knots. Though reports suggest actual capabilities may exceed 25 knots, when operational requirements demand maximum speed, the submarine can dive to test depths exceeding 800 feet, allowing operations in deep ocean environments while maintaining structural integrity and crew safety. Range limitations exist only in terms of food supplies, since the nuclear reactor can operate continuously for months without requiring external fuel sources. Advanced sensor systems and weaponry complete the submarine's capabilities. With a crew complement of 15 officers and 140 enlisted personnel operating sophisticated detection equipment, including BQQ-6 passive bow arrays, BQR-19 navigation systems, and various towed array configurations for extended range detection. The armament consists of 4 21-inch Mark 48 torpedo tubes positioned in the forward compartment's 4th level, providing significant firepower capabilities when tactical situations require offensive action against surface vessels or other submarines. Right now, the United States is working on a new submarine class called the Columbia-class submarines. This would also be a nuclear-powered ballistic missile to replace the aging Ohio-class fleet. Construction of the first vessel began on October 1, 2020, and it is scheduled to enter service in 2031. The SSBN submarine design is still being finalized, but several key features have already been outlined. It is built for a 42-year service life and is expected to complete around 124 deterrent patrols during that time. Unlike the Ohio-class submarines, which need a nuclear refueling halfway through their lifespan, SSBNs will use a nuclear fuel core designed to last the entire duration. The missile launch tubes will match the Ohio class in size, which is 87 inches in diameter, and will be tall enough to carry D5 Trident II missiles. The beam will be at least 42 feet wide, similar to the Ohio class. Instead of 24 launch tubes like the Ohio class, the SSBN will carry 16. Even with fewer tubes, the overall submerged displacement is expected to be about the same. The United States Navy has stated that, due to the strategic importance of these submarines, the SSBN class must be equipped with the latest stealth and technology to remain survivable throughout a 40-year service life. Back in November 2012, the United States Naval Institute shared more design details based on information from the Naval Sea Systems Command. These include X-shaped stern control surfaces, sail-mounted dive planes, and an electric drive system. The design also incorporates proven components from earlier submarine programs, such as the Virginia class. That includes a pump jet propulsor, anechoic coating to reduce sonar detection, and a large aperture bow sonar system. The Columbia-class submarine marks a major leap in naval engineering. For the first time, the United States Navy is fully embracing electric drive technology to solve two long-standing challenges in submarine design: cutting down on lifetime operating costs and making these vessels even harder to detect. By moving away from traditional mechanical systems like reduction gears, engineers are aiming to reduce noise and improve stealth, which is critical for a submarine that needs to stay hidden for decades. This shift breaks from decades of convention, where mechanical propulsion was the norm. Leonardo DRS, the company behind the electric drive system, has already delivered the first production unit of the main propulsion motor to General Dynamics Electric Boat for integration into the lead Columbia-class submarine. The system includes a permanent magnet motor, advanced motor drives, and propulsion controls, all designed to make this the quietest and most efficient submarine the United States has ever built. The core setup still uses the long-standing pairing of a nuclear reactor and steam turbines, a combination that's been standard in American submarines for decades. What's changed is how the energy moves from the reactor to the propellers. It starts with the reactor heating water into steam. That steam spins turbines, turning heat into motion. But rather than using that motion to mechanically drive the propellers, the system now routes it through generators. These generators convert the motion into electricity, which then powers the propulsion motors along with the rest of the submarine systems. Turboelectric systems have been around in naval engineering for quite a while. They were used effectively on American battleships and aircraft carriers in the early 90s, back when those ships played a major role in sea power. The idea was later tested in submarines, starting with the USS Tullabee in the late 1950s, which explored nuclear-powered electric drive. A larger follow-up, the USS Glenard P. Lipscomb, also used turboelectric propulsion but ran into problems. It did not produce enough power, had reliability issues, and required heavy maintenance, which limited its overall performance. Even with earlier challenges, turboelectric propulsion has kept developing. By 2013, the French Navy's Triomphant-class submarines were the only ones using it operationally. Their performance may have played a role in the United States Navy's decision to take another look at the technology, especially with improvements in electrical systems and motor design over the years. The Columbia-class submarines are now set to use electric drive, marking a shift that is both technical and strategic. The move banks on quieter operation and lower costs, even though the system brings added complexity and some risk. The USS District of Columbia SSBN 826 is set to be the first in the Columbia-class line of ballistic missile submarines for the United States Navy. It is also the first Navy ship to carry the name District of Columbia. Back in July 2016, the Navy originally planned to name the submarine USS Columbia. At the time, there was already an active attack submarine with that name, USS Columbia, SSN 771, commissioned in 1995. That sub was expected to retire before the new one entered service. But when its service life was extended, the Navy made the call to change the name to avoid confusion. In June 2022, the updated name USS District of Columbia was officially announced. Back in April 2014, the Navy wrapped up something pretty massive, a 300-page specification report laying out exactly what the Ohio replacement program submarines needed to be. This wasn't just some rough sketch either. The document contained 159 different specifications covering everything from weapon systems to escape routes, fluid systems, hatches, doors, and seawater systems. One detail that stands out is the length requirement, 560 feet. The Navy didn't just pick this number randomly, there's real strategy behind it. That length translates to about 170 meters, and it's all about creating enough internal space within the pressure hull. When dealing with submarines that need to pack in sophisticated weapon systems, life support equipment, and everything else required for extended underwater missions, every foot of internal volume matters. The length specification got confirmed later during the actual design phase, proving the Navy had done its homework from the start. Getting these dimensions right isn't just about fitting everything inside. It's about making sure the submarine can perform its mission effectively while keeping the crew safe and operational for months at a time. Electric Boat teamed up with Newport News Shipbuilding to design this new submarine class. Starting with the District of Columbia, each boat will pack 16 missile tubes, with every tube holding a single UGM-133 Trident II missile. The dimensions are pretty interesting when compared to what came before. These subs stretch 560 feet long, that's about 170.7 meters, matching the length of the older Ohio-class boats. But here's where things get different. They are 43 feet across, which is 1 foot wider than their predecessors. That extra foot of diameter might not sound like much, but it translates to 13.1 meters and creates significantly more internal space. Perhaps the most impressive engineering achievement is the nuclear core design. The reactor in each Columbia-class submarine is built to last the entire service life of the boat. This means no nuclear refueling operations during active duty, a massive logistical advantage that eliminates one of the most complex and expensive maintenance procedures these vessels would otherwise require. Development for the Columbia-class submarines is expected to run about $4.2 billion, based on fiscal year 2010 estimates. To manage costs, the Navy plans to reuse technology and components from the Ohio and Virginia classes wherever possible. Building the lead submarine, District of Columbia, is projected to cost around $6.2 billion under the same budget framework. The Navy aims to bring down the average cost of the remaining 11 submarines in the class to roughly $4.9 billion each. Over the full life cycle, the entire program is estimated to cost $347 billion. That price tag is likely to have a major impact on overall Navy shipbuilding plans. The first Columbia-class submarine was officially procured in fiscal year 2021. On June 7th of that year, the Navy's Budget Office reported that the total cost for the District of Columbia would reach $15.03 billion, factoring in planning expenses for the entire program. USS Wisconsin SSBN 827 is set to become the second submarine in the Columbia-class ballistic missile fleet. It will be the third U.S. Navy vessel to carry the Wisconsin name. The most recent was USS Wisconsin, an Iowa-class battleship that was decommissioned in 1991 and officially removed from the Naval Vessel Register in 2006. On October 28, 2020, Navy Secretary Kenneth J. Braithwaite made an announcement that got Wisconsin pretty excited. The second Columbia-class submarine would carry the name Wisconsin. This wasn't just some random decision either. Senators Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson had been pushing for this across party lines, pointing to Wisconsin's solid shipbuilding heritage as the perfect reason to honor the state with a new submarine name. The timing worked out pretty well too, with Wisconsin's construction slated for fiscal year 2024. Meanwhile, the bigger picture here is that these Columbia-class boats are stepping in to replace the aging Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines. The lead boat, USS District of Columbia, officially started construction on October 1st, 2020. If everything stays on schedule, she'll be ready for service by 2031, though anyone familiar with major shipbuilding projects knows these timelines can shift around quite a bit. It's pretty remarkable when thinking about the scale of this replacement program. The Ohio-class subs have been the backbone of America's sea-based nuclear deterrent for decades, so getting their successors right isn't just important, it's critical. USS Groton, or SSBN 828, is slated to become the third Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine in the U.S. Navy's fleet. Along with her sister boats, she'll eventually take over from the aging Ohio-class SSBNs that currently form part of America's nuclear triad. The name choice here is pretty fitting. Groton honors Groton, Connecticut, a place that's earned the nickname Submarine Capital of the World. This isn't just marketing speak either. The town hosts Naval Submarine Base New London and has been at the heart of American submarine development for decades. Walk around Groton and submarine history is everywhere. Here's where things get interesting though. When the Navy announced the name back in 2025, Groton hadn't been ordered yet. Why? Because the Navy and Electric Boat were locked in a pretty serious disagreement over costs. These disputes aren't uncommon in major defense contracts, but they can slow things down when both sides dig in their heels. It's somewhat ironic that a submarine named after the submarine capital is stuck in bureaucratic limbo over money. But that's often how these massive shipbuilding programs work. The technical challenges are just one piece of the puzzle. Getting the economics sorted out can be just as complicated. Looking at the specs for the Columbia class, these boats are absolutely massive. When submerged, each one displaces 20,810 long tons. That is, over 21,000 tons of submarine cutting through the ocean depths. The dimensions tell the story here. At 171 meters long, these subs stretch almost 2 football fields end to end. The beam measures 13 meters across. That's 43 feet of width, providing plenty of internal space for all the systems and crew quarters needed for extended patrols. Power comes from a turbo-electric drive system paired with a pump jet propulsion setup. This isn't just about moving the boat. It's designed for stealth and efficiency during those long underwater missions. Speaking of missions, the range is listed as unlimited, which makes sense given the nuclear power plant and the strategic role these submarines fill. Each boat carries a crew complement of 155 sailors. That might sound like a lot, but considering what they're operating, 16 Trident II intercontinental ballistic missiles form the primary armament, along with standard torpedo tubes for defensive purposes. These aren't just submarines. They are floating strategic deterrents capable of staying submerged for months at a time. The engineering behind cramming all this capability into a single vessel is pretty remarkable when breaking down the numbers. Fast, quiet, and loaded with powerful new weapons, America's latest nuclear submarine is one of the most advanced machines ever built for war. Every part of it shows years of research and smart design, bringing together stealth, long-range travel, and high-tech systems in one powerful underwater vessel. Built to lead on the battlefield, this submarine can move faster, dodge threats, and strike with precision, making it a serious challenge for any enemy beneath the sea. But what makes it so different from older submarines? And how could it change the balance of power around the world, especially now that control of the oceans is more important than ever? Join us as we explore how this new American submarine works, what it can do, and why it's making waves in global defense. For over 40 years, America's nuclear-powered stealth submarines have quietly protected the nation by patrolling oceans across the globe. But now, a new generation is needed. The United States Navy has been working to replace the aging fleet, but building these advanced submarines has a heavy price tag. The project cost at least $130 billion, and it will likely go even higher before it's complete. That might sound like a huge amount, and it is. To put it into perspective, that's more than the entire yearly budget of many countries. America's nuclear weapons are delivered in three main ways: missiles launched from underground silos across the country, bombs dropped from military planes, and warheads fired from stealth submarines deep under the ocean. Together, these three make up what defense experts call the nuclear triad. And out of all three parts, the submarines are considered the most important. Why are they considered important? Because they are the hardest to detect, even harder to destroy, and they carry enough nuclear weapons to wipe out an entire city. They are basically mobile, hidden missile launchers that can stay underwater for several months, always ready to strike if needed. But there is a problem. The submarines currently in use, the Ohio class, are old. They were designed back in the 1960s and 70s, and they first entered service in 1981. As any military analyst can imagine, keeping them in working condition is becoming more expensive every year. To fix that, the Navy planned to roll out a new class of submarines called the Columbia class. These would be smarter, more advanced, and more reliable. The goal was to build 12 submarines at around $9 billion each, with the first one ready by 2027. Construction on the first Columbia-class submarine began on October 1st, 2020. It won't be ready for service until 2031, over 10 years from start to finish, showing just how complicated these machines are to build. On June 3, 2022, the Navy announced the first submarine would be named the USS District of Columbia with hull number SSBN 826. They chose this name to avoid mix-ups with the USS Columbia, which is a different type of submarine already in use. The new Columbia-class submarines were designed by Electric Boat with support from Newport News Shipbuilding, two of the biggest names in American naval construction. The original plan was to build 12 submarines in total, and work on the first one began in 2021. Each submarine will carry 16 missile tubes, and each will launch a powerful nuclear missile known as the Trident II D5 life extension missile. That is the same type of long-range missile used on today's Ohio-class submarines. From the 9th submarine onward, the Navy plans to upgrade the weapons to a newer version called the Trident II D5 life extension 2. These submarines are truly enormous. Each one will measure around 560 feet long, about the length of 1.5 football fields and 43 feet wide. This is the exact length of the older Ohio-class submarines, but the Columbia-class will be about 1 foot wider. That extra space may seem small, but it gives engineers more room to install modern systems, upgraded technology, and improved living quarters for the crew. The planners had to run detailed calculations before deciding how many of these submarines to build. They needed to figure out how many nuclear missiles should be at sea and ready to go at any given time. Then they looked at how many each submarine could carry and how likely each vessel could stay hidden from enemies while remaining ready to launch if necessary. Another key factor was maintenance. Submarines regularly need time in port for repairs and servicing, so the Navy had to consider how many submarines would be offline at any moment. This helped determine the total number needed to ensure the United States nuclear weapons are effective and reliable at all times. To keep costs down, the Navy explored different design options. One idea was to add missile tubes to the existing Virginia-class attack submarines. Another was to update the current Ohio-class design and keep building those. The third option was to create a brand new submarine design from scratch. In the end, the Navy decided that building an entirely new design was the most cost-effective way to meet all the technical needs. It might sound strange, but starting fresh turned out to be cheaper in the long run. Here's one example. The other two options, upgrading older submarines, would have required midlife refueling, which is a long, expensive process. However, the Columbia-class submarines come with a major advantage. Each one is built with a nuclear reactor that lasts the entire life of the submarine. That means no refueling is needed, and the submarine can stay in service without having to be taken apart midway through its lifespan. To keep everything on track, the Navy completed a detailed design plan in April 2014. It was a massive 300-page report that listed 159 technical requirements. These included everything from weapons and emergency escape routes to seawater systems, doors, hatches, and internal piping. One key decision in the design was the length, 560 feet. This size allows enough space inside the pressure hull to fit all the complex systems the submarine needs to operate for decades deep under the sea. On the 28th of July, 2016, it was announced that the first submarine in the new Columbia class would be named Columbia to honor the District of Columbia. A few months later, on the 14th of December, 2016, the Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, officially confirmed the name of the class. Then on the 28th of October, 2020, Navy Secretary Kenneth J. Braithwaite revealed the name of the second submarine in the class. It will be called the USS Wisconsin, named after the U.S. state of Wisconsin. Its hull number is SSBN 827. Two major challenges stand in the way of this massive project: keeping the supply chain running smoothly and having enough skilled workers to build these highly advanced submarines. With so many specialized parts and jobs involved, even a small delay in one area can affect the entire schedule. The new Columbia-class submarines, also known by their earlier name, SSBNX, are still in development. Still, the Navy has already outlined several key features that will define these next-generation vessels. Each submarine is designed to serve for an impressive 42 years, during which it will complete about 124 nuclear deterrent patrols. One of the most important upgrades over the older Ohio-class submarines is the nuclear fuel core. While Ohio-class submarines require complex and expensive midlife refueling, the Columbia-class will be powered by a nuclear core designed to last the entire service life of the submarine, saving both time and money. The new submarines will carry 16 missile launch tubes, which is fewer than the 24 found on the older Ohio-class. However, each tube will be the same size with a diameter of 87 inches, large enough to hold a Trident 2D5 missile, the main long-range nuclear weapon used by the United States Navy. Despite having fewer tubes, the Columbia-class maintains the same powerful strike capability with more modern and efficient systems. In other words, the new submarines will have a similar shape and size, but will be packed with more efficient technology and upgraded systems to meet modern needs. According to the United States Navy, the Columbia-class must be built with the most advanced stealth and survivability features available. These submarines are expected to remain hidden and mission-ready for their full 40-year lifespan, ensuring they stay relevant and undetectable in an increasingly competitive global environment. In November 2012, the United States Naval Institute shared new details about the design of the upcoming Columbia-class submarines, using information from the Naval Sea Systems Command. One standout feature is the use of X-shaped control fins, called hydroplanes, at the back of the submarine. These fins help the submarine move smoothly and stay stable underwater. The X shape makes the submarine easier to steer and helps keep it quieter while submerged, an important advantage for staying hidden. Another change in the Columbia-class submarines is the position of the dive planes, which are like the wings that help the submarine move up and down underwater. On older submarines, these dive planes were placed on the sides of the main body or hull, similar to how airplane wings are attached to the sides of the fuselage. But in the Columbia-class, the dive planes are mounted on the sail, which is the vertical tower that sticks up from the top of the submarine. It's like putting the steering fins on top instead of the sides. This new position gives the crew better control especially when the submarine is moving slowly or rising near the surface, kind of like how moving the rudder on a boat helps it turn more smoothly in shallow waters. One of the most important upgrades in the Columbia-class submarines is the switch to an electric drive system. In older submarines, the nuclear reactor worked a bit like a car engine. It used gears to turn the propeller directly, creating noise that could be picked up by enemy sonar. But in the Columbia-class, that setup has been replaced. Instead, the reactor heats water into steam, which then generates electricity, much like how a power plant works. That electricity runs a motor that quietly turns the propeller. It's similar to how modern electric cars use battery power to drive the wheels without making much noise. For a submarine that needs to stay hidden deep underwater, being quiet is one of its greatest strengths, and this new system helps it do just that. To cut down on costs and speed up production, the Navy is also using proven technology from earlier submarine programs, especially from the Virginia-class fast attack submarines. For example, the Columbia-class will use a pump jet propulsor, which is a quieter and more efficient way of moving through water compared to traditional propellers. It will also be coated with a special anechoic layer, a rubber-like material on the outside of the hull that absorbs sound and makes it harder for enemy sonar to detect the submarine. In addition, the large aperture bow sonar system will be included, allowing the submarine to detect other ships and submarines from far away. Additionally, the Columbia-class may feature an advanced combat system called the Submarine Warfare Federated Tactical System. This is a collection of integrated tools and systems that combine sonar, optical imaging, and weapons control into a single network, allowing the crew to make faster, smarter decisions during missions. To reduce long-term costs and make the submarine much quieter, the Columbia-class will use a fully electric drive system. In older submarines, power from the nuclear reactor would go through a series of heavy gears and shafts, like how a bicycle chain connects the pedals to the wheels to spin the propeller. But in the Columbia-class, that mechanical setup is replaced with an electric motor, similar to what you'd find in a modern electric car. Instead of making noise through turning parts, the motor runs quietly using electricity. This makes the submarine much harder to detect underwater, which is exactly what any nanny would want when they are trying to stay hidden from enemy forces. The submarine will still be powered by a nuclear reactor, just like other submarines in the United States Navy. Here's how it works in simple terms. The nuclear reactor heats water and turns it into steam. That steam powers turbines, which create mechanical energy. Then generators take that mechanical energy and turn it into electricity. That electricity will run the submarine's propulsion motors, as well as power other systems on board. Everything from computers to life support. This technology, known as turbo-electric drive, is not entirely new. It was successfully used in United States battleships and aircraft carriers during the early part of the 20th century, and even in a small nuclear-powered submarine called the USS Tullabee in the 1950s. Later, a larger submarine named the USS Leonard P. Lipscomb was also built with this type of system. But in that case, the system had problems. It was underpowered, hard to maintain, and not very reliable. Engineers have come a long way since then, and the electric drive in the Columbia-class will use modern technology to avoid those issues. As of 2013, the only submarines in the world using turbo-electric systems were the Triomphant-class submarines in the French Navy. In 2024, the defense contractor Northrop Grumman was selected to design and manufacture the turbine generator units for the Columbia-class submarines. In 2014, a company called Leonardo DRS was chosen to supply the main propulsion motor and the system that powers it for the new Columbia-class submarines. This is the heart of the submarine's electric drive system, the part that turns electric energy into motion. The motor for the first submarine in the class was delivered to Electric Boat in August 2022. Electric motors are becoming more important in both military and civilian ships because they are more efficient, quieter, and easier to maintain than older mechanical systems. The United States Navy is now looking into advanced types of electric motors for its future submarines. One type being developed by General Dynamics in Newport News Shipbuilding is called the permanent magnet motor. These motors use powerful magnets to create rotation instead of relying on bulky mechanical parts. This design makes them smaller, quieter, and more energy efficient than traditional motors, which makes them perfect for submarines that need to move silently and stay hidden underwater. American superconductors and General Atomics are developing a new kind of electric motor called a high-temperature superconducting synchronous motor. This may sound complicated, but here's what it means. They use special materials that can carry electricity with almost no energy loss. Think of it as water flowing through a pipe with no leaks. This allows the motor to be very powerful while staying small and compact, which is great for use inside a submarine where space is limited. Interestingly, other countries are already using this kind of motor in their submarines. For example, the German and Italian navies use Siemens permanent magnet motors in their Type 212 submarines. The United States has also tested this technology. In 2013, engineers tried out permanent magnet motors on a test submarine called the Large-Scale Vehicle 2. It was like a prototype, used to see if these motors could work well in future submarines like the Virginia-class or even newer designs. The Royal Navy's upcoming Dreadnought-class submarines, which will replace the current Vanguard-class ballistic missile submarines, may feature a shaftless drive system, a new type of electric propulsion that could change how submarines move through the water. Now let's compare the Columbia-class submarine from the United States with the nuclear submarines used by China and Russia, two other major nuclear powers. Today, China's main nuclear missile submarine is the Type 094, also known as the Jin class. China's second-generation ballistic missile submarine is designed to carry 12 JL-2 nuclear missiles. These missiles have a shorter range than America's Trident missiles, which means Chinese submarines have to sail much closer to their targets before launching an attack. The Type 094 is noisier than submarines built by Western countries, making it easier for enemy sonar to detect. This limits how well it can stay hidden during underwater patrols. China is currently working on a Type 096 submarine that is expected to be quieter and carry the newer JL-3 missiles, but that submarine is still under development. Russia's most modern nuclear missile submarine is the Buray class, also known as Project 955. These submarines carry 16 Bulava missiles, each capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads. The Buray class is quieter and more advanced than Russia's older submarines and shows a major improvement in technology. Compared to the Columbia class, the Buray class is slightly smaller in size but still very capable. However, United States submarines tend to have more advanced electronics and navigation systems, thanks to larger investments in undersea warfare technology. While China's Type 094 is still catching up, and Russia's Buray class remains a strong competitor, the Columbia class stands out for its cutting-edge long-term nuclear power and highly advanced missile systems. The United Kingdom operates 4 Vanguard-class submarines, which serve as the nation's sole nuclear deterrent. Each submarine carries Trident II D5 missiles like the U.S. Ohio and Columbia-class subs. The British submarines patrol continuously, with at least one always at sea, a policy known as continuous at-sea deterrence. However, the Vanguard-class submarines are aging, and the UK plans to replace them with the upcoming Dreadnought class. This class will feature improved stealth, a longer service life, and continued partnership with the US for missile systems. As the global race for undersea power continues, these submarines show how vital submarine strength is in today's nuclear strategy. Deep beneath the waves, a brand new US submarine waits in silent darkness, packed with cutting-edge tech designed to change the balance of power. With a single command, it can launch a deadly volley capable of reaching Russian territory in just 32 seconds. Stealthy, swift, and nearly invisible to enemy sensors, this silent underwater giant embodies America's push for unrivaled dominance beneath the sea. Today, we boldly unveil how this marvel of engineering transforms the art of naval warfare forever. Imagine you're deep underwater, the surface world miles above you, and all around is calm. That's exactly how America's newest submarines, the Virginia-class fast attack submarine, USS Iowa, operate, silent, unseen, and packing serious power. The U.S. Navy's underwater fleet is its secret ace, giving the country unmatched reach, deterrence, and strike ability wherever trouble brews. These subs aren't your old diesel boats. They're nuclear-powered, meaning they can stay down for months without needing air or fuel. While other vessels bob up every few days, These submarines slip through the depths, unheard, unseen, and ready for action. That stealth makes them perfect for both watching enemies and delivering fast, precise blows if called upon. According to the Navy's fiscal year 2026 building plan, 6 new Battle Force ships are on the way. 2 of those are Virginia-class USS Iowa, nuclear-powered fast-attack submarines. These subs are the cutting edge of undersea warfare, built for speed, stealth, and heavy firepower. You can picture them as high-tech hunters of the deep, scanning for threats, gathering secret info, and, if needed, striking with missiles and torpedoes. Recently, the Navy handed General Dynamics Electric Boat an $18.5 billion contract to kick off the Virginia Block 6 series. That's a huge deal. It shows just how serious the Navy is about keeping its subs ahead of the curve. Block 6 will feature even better sensors, quieter engines, and a more advanced missile launch setup, all designed to stay one step ahead of any foe lurking beneath the waves. We've already seen these submarines at work. In Operation Midnight Hammer against Iran, a guided missile sub launched a precise strike that put key targets out of action. Moments later, there was no sign the attack had come from beneath the sea. That kind of surprise and speed sends a clear message. Don't mess with an unseen force you can't track or stop. For over 20 years, the Virginia-class has been the backbone of the Navy's attack boat fleet. The story began in the 1990s under the code name Centurion. Back then, naval planners wanted a next-gen submarine that could outmatch anything the old Soviet subs could throw at it. They needed a boat fast, quiet, and packed with smart tech, one that could deter the smartest, toughest enemies. A big part of making that dream real was 3D visualization technology. For the first time ever, engineers could walk through the sub's interior on a computer before a single piece of steel was cut. Every hallway, hatch, and wiring run was laid out virtually, saving time and money on the assembly line. This digital-first approach slashed costs compared to the older, fancier Seawolf class, which had been so expensive that the Navy could only afford 3 boats. Cost matters, especially when budgets get tight. Building a Seawolf could run well over $1 billion apiece. The Virginia class, by contrast, comes in at a much friendlier price. That means more subs in the water, more crews trained, and a stronger, more flexible force ready for anything. With these new Block 6 boats on the horizon, the Navy is doubling down on undersea dominance. Silent, smart, and swift, they give America a clear advantage, and a powerful reminder that beneath the ocean's surface lies a force capable of defending the nation and its allies, anywhere in the world. Budgetary constraints remain an underlying issue. Every mission begins long before the submarine slips below the waves. Thanks to its powerful arsenal, the USS Iowa brings a suite of weapons that turn the depths into a launch pad for precise, far-reaching strikes. At the core of its punch is the Tomahawk land attack missile. Loaded into the vertical launch tubes, these cruise missiles can travel hundreds of miles, weaving through hostile airspace to hit targets with pinpoint accuracy. From hardened bunkers to key bridges or underground command centers, a Tomahawk can deliver its payload without warning, and long before any surface ship can arrive. Below the keel, the submarine carries 4 torpedo tubes that handle a different kind of threat. The Mk-48 heavyweight torpedo is built to hunt both enemy submarines and surface vessels. Once fired, it races through the water at high speed, using a mix of active sonar and clever guidance to home in on its mark. Whether shadowing a hostile sub or closing in on a warship, the Mk-48 brings devastating power in a compact package. When the target is on the surface, the submarine can reach for the Harpoon anti-ship missile. Fired from those same torpedo tubes, the underwater-launched Harpoon pops free of the water before its rocket motor ignites, sending it soaring toward enemy vessels. With radar guidance and a high-explosive warhead, it can disable or sink a ship hundreds of miles away, all while the sub remains hidden below. The vertical launch system itself is a game-changer. 12 tubes sit ready to send Tomahawks skyward at a moment's notice. Because the tubes are built to handle a variety of missile types, the crew can mix and match payloads depending on the mission. A salvo of long-range strikes one day, specialized warheads for electronic jamming, or bunker busting the next. This flexibility means the USS Iowa acts like a floating missile base, able to shift roles with a few quick reloads. Beyond sheer firepower, the Iowa is outfitted for special operations. A built-in lock-in lockout chamber lets combat divers slip out underwater, carry out covert missions, and return without the boat ever surfacing. Whether inserting a team to sabotage a port facility or gathering critical intelligence on enemy defenses, these enhancements make the submarine a stealthy launch point for forces that tread where bigger ships cannot go. Modern naval warfare isn't just about crewed platforms. The Iowa also carries unmanned undersea vehicles that can scout ahead, map the seabed, or even deliver small payloads to distant locations. These robotic partners expand the sub's reach and keep sailors out of harm's way. Send a UUV into shallow coastal waters to survey minefields or inspect a wreck, then recover it inside the hull, all without putting human divers at risk. Every weapon system and specialized feature ties back to the same goal, giving commanders options. Need to soften enemy air defenses before a carrier strike? Launch Tomahawks to clear the skies. Suspect an adversary submarine is trailing your task force? Let loose 48,000 Quacha to flush it out? Hostile patrol boats loitering off a coastline? Harpoons can teach them a quick lesson. Quietly insert a 3-man SEAL team for a midnight raid, then fade away before sunrise. By carrying a mix of long-range missiles, torpedoes, anti-ship rockets, and support for covert teams, the USS Iowa shifts seamlessly from overt firepower to clandestine operations. Behind these capabilities stands a crew trained to run every system flawlessly. Missile technicians school themselves on the latest guidance modules for Tomahawks. Torpedo men maintain the aging Mk-48s and test new firmware to sharpen their targeting. Special Ops liaisons practice lockout drills until every exit and entry becomes second nature. UUV operators learn each vehicle's quirks, how it responds to currents, how to steer it past underwater obstacles, how to bring it home through a narrow hatch. This teamwork turns complex hardware into a cohesive package, where every launch, every dive lock, and every data packet matters. In an age where conflicts can flare across continents, a single submarine like the USS Iowa packs more firepower than an entire air wing. Yet it also offers the subtle touch of special ops delivery and robotic scouting. That blend of overt and covert tools makes it one of the most versatile warships ever built. Whether striking high-value targets from miles away or sneaking soldiers ashore under moonless skies, this submarine stands ready to tip the balance of power, wherever and whenever its orders arrive. Picture the massed array on a Virginia-class submarine as a high-tech crown, bristling with the tools it needs to see, hear, and talk to the world above the waves. For the first time ever, the Navy bundled every mast on these boats into one uniform package, the Universal Modular Mast, UMM. Designed by L3KEO, this smart approach means fewer unique parts, simpler upkeep, and quicker upgrades. Imagine building every room in your house with the same set of Lego blocks. This integrated system made its debut on USS Memphis, a Los Angeles-class boat, before rolling out across all Virginia-class subs. The UMM is essentially a rugged, watertight tower that rises through the surface and tucks neatly away when the submarine dives deep again. Inside that tower live all the eyes and ears of the vessel. At its simplest, the snorkel mast lets the sub breathe. While nuclear power makes this less critical than in diesel boats, it still stands ready to supply fresh air or support auxiliary systems if ever needed. Then come the photonic masts, two camera-based periscopes packed with high-resolution color and infrared sensors. They beam real-time, digitally enhanced views straight to the control room, giving a 360-degree panorama day or night without a long tube slicing through the hull, meaning fewer leaks and a crisper picture of the surface world. Communication masts handle the chatter and data links that keep the submarine connected to ships, shore stations, and satellites. By having two separate towers, the boat can juggle multiple frequencies at once, which is crucial during complex missions. On top of that, high data rate SATCOM masts, built by Raytheon, reach skyward for super-fast satellite links. One mast tackles the downlink, the other the uplink, so the crew can download massive files or send detailed reports nearly instantaneously. Think of trading in an old dial-up modem for gigabit fiber, only this one floats. A dedicated radar mast carries the ANBPS-16 surface search and navigation radar, scanning the horizon for ships, icebergs, or any other obstacles lurking above the waves. This radar eye sweeps wide arcs in seconds, feeding clear images back to the bridge. Meanwhile, the electronic warfare mast, fitted with the AN/BLQ-10 system, turns the ocean into an information warfare zone. It eavesdrops on enemy radar pings or radio traffic, analyzes signal strength and direction, and helps the crew decide whether to avoid, counter, or silently slip past potential threats. Because these masts share so many common parts and design choices, the Navy drastically cuts down on spare part headaches and can roll out new capabilities in a flash. Need to upgrade the cameras? Plug in the latest photonic unit without redesigning the entire system. Want better radar performance? Swap in an enhanced ANBPS-16 module and dive right back into service. Now imagine stepping aboard a submarine and finding something familiar in the control room. An Xbox 360 controller tucked beside the sonar screens and navigation charts. Back in 2018, the USS Colorado made headlines not just for its mission, but for being the very first submarine to swap out old-school knobs and wheels for this everyday gaming gadget. It might seem like a quirky upgrade, but there's a clever reason behind it. By using a controller millions of people already know how to handle, the Navy cut down training time and gave sailors an intuitive way to steer the ship's photonic mass. Virginia-class submarines ditched traditional glass tube periscopes in favor of high-tech photonic sensors. Instead of peering through a narrow lens from below the waves, these boats peer through high-resolution cameras, light intensification and infrared sensors, and even an infrared laser rangefinder. All of that data funnels into an electronic support measures array, giving the crew a clear picture of the world above without ever poking a hole in the sub's strong steel pressure hull. Two sets of these photonic eyes, known as ANBVS-1 masts, perch outside the hull like silent sentinels. Under the sea, they stay tucked away, safe from harm. When it's time to look around, they rise smoothly through the water, capturing live images and readings. Streams of optical fiber carry that information down into the control center, where processors translate it into crisp visuals on liquid crystal display screens. Picture sitting at a bank of vivid monitors, swiping and zooming on views of the surface as easily as you would pinch to zoom on a smartphone photo. Before photonic masts, submarines had to slot a thick steel tube through the hull to hold the periscope lenses, which limited how much weight and water pressure the hull could bear. It also meant the control room had to press right up under the sail, the tall fin on top of the sub, so the periscope could drop straight down into it. Now, with no rigid shaft tying them together, designers can tuck the control room deeper into the hull where it's safer and more comfortable. It's like moving from a cramped attic to a spacious open-plan living area. But there's a catch. The new masts look so different from old periscopes that anyone spotting them on the surface can instantly tell that's a Virginia-class sub. In a world where stealth is everything, that's not ideal. To solve this, engineers are rolling out low-profile photonics masts that borrow the familiar cylinder shape of classic periscopes. These sleeker versions hide high-tech sensors inside, blending in with other boats and keeping a Virginia-class vessel's identity under wraps. Looking even further ahead, designers are sketching out a panoramic mast that doesn't even need to spin. Dubbed the Affordable Modular Panoramic Photonics Mast, this future upgrade would give the sub a full 360-degree view of the sea surface at once, like unfolding a panorama on a smartphone. No mechanical rotation means fewer moving parts to break, less noise to worry about, and an instant, seamless sweep in all directions. All these changes add up to a submarine that isn't just quieter in the water but smarter too. By using off-the-shelf tech, like an Xbox controller, alongside custom-built sensors and cameras, the Navy stays nimble. Sailors can swap in new hardware or software updates without rewriting whole operating systems, just like installing a fresh app on a tablet. The human side of this story is just as compelling. Sailors who grew up playing video games find themselves at ease in the control room, guiding the sub's eyes with a familiar set of triggers and thumbsticks. That confidence translates into faster reactions when it counts, whether it's spotting a distant ship at dusk or zeroing in on a target with laser precision. In the grand scheme of naval power, it might seem small, swapping a classic periscope for a camera system, trading a wheel for a gaming controller. But each tweak ripples outward, boosting safety, cutting costs, and sharpening the sub's edge. In the unforgiving environment of the deep ocean, being a step, or a millisecond, ahead can mean the difference between success and disaster. And with photonic mass quietly rising above the waves, guided by controllers that gamers around the world would recognize, the Virginia-class boats are charting a course toward the future of undersea stealth and surveillance. Quiet operation under the sea is a major advantage for any submarine, and the Virginia-class boats achieve this with a revolutionary pump jet propulsor developed by BAE Systems. Unlike traditional bladed propellers that chop through water and create noisy bubbles, the pump jet shrouds its rotor in a duct that smooths the flow. Water is drawn in and forced out in a steady, whisper-quiet stream. This design, first proven on Britain's Swiftsure-class subs, dramatically cuts down cavitation, those telltale pops and hisses that give away a submarine's position. By moving almost silently through the depths, a Virginia-class sub can slip past sonar detection and get into position without alerting anyone above or below the waves. Moving on from stealthy propulsion, these submarines depend on top-tier sonar to understand everything around them. At the core lies an open system architecture, OSA for sonar systems. Think of it like a plug-and-play setup. New hardware and software modules can be added with ease, keeping the boat's sensors fresh and powerful. Every 4 years, the Navy slots in new physical components under a technology insertion, bringing in faster processors, sleeker transducers, or more robust cabling. Every 2 years, an advanced processor build updates the software, refining signal analysis and improving target recognition. This steady upgrade cycle means the Virginia-class never falls behind on sensing technology. The main sonar heart sits in a spherical array at the bow. Early boats carried the BQQ-10 system, but starting with SSN 784, a large aperture Bow-Levy array took its place. This larger, more sensitive sphere can detect quieter or more distant contacts. Along the hull's sides, a wide aperture fiber optic array uses light signals in flat panels to listen for echoes. These panels keep a constant watch on the sub's flanks, feeding clear data to the processing center without adding much weight or drag. Close-in work, navigating shallow water, slipping beneath ice sheets, or hunting down agile targets relies on high-frequency sonars. One sits in a housing under the bow, the other near the top of the sail. Their sharper ping gives high-resolution snapshots of the nearby seafloor, obstacles, or smaller vessels. For over-the-shoulder coverage, a low-cost conformal array, LCCA, wraps around each side of the sail. That array picks up sounds from above and behind the submarine, giving a full picture of activity all around. When stealth demands even greater reach, the boat tows sonar arrays behind it. A fat-line tactical towed array, known as TB-16 or TB-34, depending on the model, trails far back to detect faint noises over medium ranges. For really long-distance listening, a thinner, more delicate line, TB-29 or TB-33, extends even farther, sniffing out submarines or ships miles away. By towing these sensors, the sub ensures it can monitor activity below and beyond its own hull noise, making it far less vulnerable to surprise encounters. All these sonar systems feed into the control center through optical fiber lines and signal processors. The data appears on high-resolution screens where trained sonar operators interpret echo patterns, track contacts, and guide the sub's movements. Thanks to OSA, if a new kind of sensor becomes available, say, one that picks up ultra-low frequency sounds or processes data faster, the crew can integrate it without ripping out the entire system. That modular approach saves both time and money, and it means mission readiness stays high. Together, pump jet propulsion and advanced sonar make the Virginia-class submarines far more capable than their predecessors. They slip through the water in near silence and keep a 360-degree electronic eye on everything around them, from distant threats to hidden shoals of fish. Whether operating in the icy Arctic, crowded littoral zones, or deep ocean trenches, these boats maintain the edge in undersea detection and stealth. That combination of quiet movement and state-of-the-art sensors spells a decisive advantage. The ability to watch without being seen, to listen without revealing location, and to strike or evade with confidence. By constantly evolving through regular hardware and software upgrades, these submarines adapt to changing threats and new technologies. They stand ready to face whatever challenges the deep sea and potential adversaries might throw at them. In modern naval warfare, maintaining that edge under the waves can prove far more important than sheer firepower. Virginia-class submarines have steadily evolved from straightforward attack boats into versatile undersea platforms, thanks in large part to clever tweaks in their missile launch systems. Early models relied on a dozen vertical tubes, each dedicated to firing a single Tomahawk cruise missile. That setup got the job done, but left little room for flexibility when new mission needs arose. Block 3 changed that by swapping those 12 single-purpose tubes for just 2 multi-purpose Virginia payload tubes VPTs. Each VPT can hold multiple missiles or other payloads, so crews no longer have to commit all their launchers to a single weapon type. In effect, the submarine becomes a Swiss Army knife of undersea warfare, ready to switch from long-range strikes to unmanned vehicle deployments at a moment's notice. Building on that concept, Block V boats introduce an even bigger game-changer, the Virginia Payload Module, VPM. Starting with submarines laid down from 2019 onward, a new 70-foot section appears mid-body between the operations compartment and the propulsion plant. This extra chunk of hull carries 4 more payload tubes, each taller than the original VPTs, and each capable of fitting up to 7 Tomahawk missiles. That brings the total cruise missile capacity up dramatically, replacing firepower once provided by converted Ohio-class SSGNs that are now heading for retirement. By tucking these tubes on the centerline, designers keep the boat balanced and avoid messing with its stealthy shape, while giving commanders more options for missile strikes without needing support ships nearby. Early plans called for 8 new tubes, but engineers soon realized that 4 would strike a better balance between added punch and manageable size. The VPM still adds length and cost. Initial estimates peg the price tag at $500 million extra per sub. Yet by packing more missiles into each hull, the Navy can meet its strike requirements with fewer boats overall, trimming the force by about 4 submarines. Later cost reviews slimmed the VPM budget to around $360 to $380 million by narrowing its mission to Tomahawk cruise missiles and leaving out more exotic cargo like medium-range ballistic missiles. Some of that savings also comes from sharing silo designs with future Ohio-class replacements, taking advantage of common parts and construction methods. Behind the scenes, General Dynamics Electric Boat handled the initial VPM design work, sketching out how to splice the extra module into the submarine's backbone. Final manufacturing is split among BWX Technologies and BAE Systems, who turn the blueprints into real steel and electronics. Contracts flowed steadily. A $19 million award in mid-2016 kickstarted VPM development, followed by a $126 million package in early 2017 to cover lead-time construction costs for the first Block V hulls. Those early investments paved the way for a production line that can weave the extra sections into submarines without drawing out the schedule. Beyond missiles, VPM tubes can double as launch points for unmanned undersea vehicles, a capability Block 3 subs only dreamed of. UUVs can slip out through the same tubes that once held Tomahawks, scouting shallow coastal waters, mapping the seabed for mines, or carrying specialized sensors into denied zones. That robotic edge makes each submarine a mini fleet of its own, combining human crews and machine helpers in a single hull. When a mission calls for stealthy reconnaissance rather than a heavy strike, divers simply swap out the missile canisters for UUV launchers, reconfiguring the boat's role in port in a matter of hours. This modular mindset carries forward into future upgrades. The Navy and industry partners are already sketching concepts for non-rotational panoramic masts and next-gen sonar arrays. By the time Block V boats hit the water en masse, they'll carry more firepower, more sensors, and more flexibility than any U.S. sub before them. Each added tube, each software tweak in their fire control system, keeps them one step ahead of adversaries racing to counter American undersea might. In today's shifting strategic landscape, where potential flashpoints range from Arctic ice floes to crowded Asian littorals, having a submarine that can switch from deep strike platform to covert intelligence gatherer is invaluable. The Block 3 and 5 evolutions prove that even the most secretive warship benefits from a dash of modular thinking. By turning vertical launch tubes into multi-role assets, the Virginia-class remains not just a silent hunter, but a flexible tool of national power, ready to meet whatever challenge lies ahead under the waves. China's newest submarine is making waves, literally and strategically. As tensions rise in the South China Sea and beyond, this advanced vessel is changing how undersea warfare is viewed in the region. Packed with stealth technology, long-range weapons, and a unique propulsion system, it is a major advancement for the Chinese Navy. Could this new submarine shift the balance of naval power in the Pacific? How might other nations respond to China's growing underwater strength? Join us as we explore the reasons why everyone believes this Chinese submarine would change everything. China has built something new beneath the waves, a high-tech submarine that runs on batteries but charges them using a small nuclear reactor. This unique machine, called the Type 041, might just be China's secret weapon near its coastlines. It's built to be sneaky, quiet, and hard to track, especially in the shallow waters of the Western Pacific. And for the United States and its allies, that could be a real headache. This strange new sub first caught people's attention when it was spotted from space. In April, satellite pictures showed the vessel sitting at a shipyard in Wuhan, deep inside China. Analysts were quick to notice that this wasn't just any ordinary submarine. It seems to come with several cutting-edge features, including a vertical launch system, known as VLS, that can fire cruise missiles and special anti-ship ballistic missiles. Another noticeable feature is its X-shaped tail fin, which could make the submarine more agile and stable underwater. This type of tail design is usually seen on more modern submarines and helps the vessel turn quickly and safely while moving through deep waters. The addition of a vertical launch system is a big deal. Most submarines still launch missiles through torpedo tubes, which limits the number and type of weapons they can carry. A VLS, however, makes it possible to store more missiles and fire them faster. It also reduces the risk of blind spots during launch, giving the sub a much better chance of hitting its target quickly and accurately. Then, 5 months later, something strange happened. Reports began to surface that the submarine had some kind of accident while it was tied up at its dock. Some even claimed it sank right where it sat. Now, analysts and experts around the world are watching closely. Everyone wants to know if China is quietly fixing the damaged sub or secretly working on new ones. Even though it may have run into trouble early on, the Type 041 still has everyone curious. That's because of how it moves underwater. Its power system is like nothing anyone has ever seen before. Most submarines fall into one of two types. One kind is fully nuclear powered. These can stay underwater for months and travel around the world without needing to come up. The other kind runs on diesel engines and batteries. They're cheaper and quieter, but they have to surface more often to recharge. China's new submarine, though, is a mix of both. It has a very small nuclear reactor, not big enough to run the whole boat, but just powerful enough to recharge the batteries while the sub stays underwater. That means it can glide beneath the surface for long periods without the noise and heat that usually give away a nuclear sub's location. It's designed to sneak around in shallow water, close to shore, where enemy ships and submarines might not expect it. This type of system solves a big problem that submarine designers have struggled with for decades, which is how to build a sub that's both quiet and long-lasting underwater. Nuclear subs are powerful, but they're easier to detect. Diesel subs are harder to find, but they can't stay hidden for as long. By mixing both ideas, China may have found a clever way to stay hidden for days or even weeks while still having enough power to attack or defend. Of course, it's still early. No one outside of China knows exactly how many of these subs exist or how well they actually work. The accident in the harbor raises questions about safety and design. Was it just a one-time mistake, or does this new sub still have serious flaws? What is clear is that this hybrid submarine shows China is thinking outside the box when it comes to undersea warfare. If they can fix the problems and build more of these boats, it could change the way navies operate in the Western Pacific. For the United States and its allies who rely on tracking and controlling undersea movements, this quiet little submarine could cause big problems. Unlike older systems, this new nuclear battery submarine from China could quietly move at speeds of up to 9 or 10 knots while staying completely underwater. That's much faster than most conventional air-independent propulsion subs, which can only go about 4 to 6 knots. This increase in speed gives the Type 041 class a serious edge. It means the submarine could slip past Japan and cruise into the deeper waters east of the islands, hiding out beneath the surface while waiting for US or Allied ships to come near. The potential impact of this submarine in a real conflict could be huge. Let's say a war breaks out between China and Taiwan. If the United States decides to help Taiwan, as it has promised in the past, US Navy ships would likely rush across the Pacific to support them. But if a group of Type 041 submarines had already taken position days before the fighting even started, they could lie in wait, hidden and silent, ready to strike. These subs could launch surprise attacks on US Navy battle groups as they move westward into the region. That's what makes these hybrid submarines so dangerous. Their ability to stay underwater for around 20 days without surfacing, combined with their increased speed and stealth, means they could quietly prepare for battle before anyone even realizes they're there. Traditional submarines, which need to surface or move slowly while submerged, just can't compete with that kind of hidden power. Because of this, experts believe that China's Navy won't be discouraged by the reported sinking of the first Type 041. Even though there may have been an accident, China likely sees this design as too important to abandon. It's not just about one submarine, it's about creating an entire force that can challenge American and Allied navies near China's coastlines and beyond. This type of submarine could be especially powerful in the South China Sea, a highly contested area that's full of tension and military activity. The waters in the South China Sea have an average depth of more than 1,200 meters, and the sea floor is far from simple. The area is filled with tricky underwater features like islands, reefs, sandbars, and deep ocean trenches. These natural features make it a challenging place for any ship to operate, but they also offer a perfect hiding place for a quiet submarine. In such an environment, a sub with long underwater endurance and strong strike power would be a big advantage. Experts believe this new Chinese submarine could make full use of the region's deep and complex waters to avoid detection and carry out secret missions. And because of its upgraded long-range missiles, it could strike targets from far away, just like a nuclear-powered submarine can. This is a major development, because until now, only nuclear subs were known for their ability to travel long distances and launch powerful attacks while staying hidden. If this new non-nuclear sub can match those abilities, it could change the balance of power in the region. China would have a stealthy weapon that's cheaper than a nuclear sub, but nearly as powerful. More importantly, the submarine may act as a strong warning to other countries. It could serve as a silent reminder to China's neighbors and even outside powers like the United States that China is ready to defend its interests. With this new submarine quietly patrolling the South China Sea, China sends a message: stay back or be ready for a response. As tensions continue to grow in the region, the presence of this advanced submarine adds a new layer of pressure. With its long-range strike abilities and high-tech stealth system, it may become one of the most important tools in China's undersea defense strategy. Right now, China's engineers are working on mastering other advanced AIP technologies, like fuel cells and safer lithium-ion batteries. But until those systems are fully developed and proven, the nuclear battery idea may be the key to getting ahead. It's a smart way to mix old and new technology, combining the quiet nature of electric subs with the lasting power of nuclear energy without needing a full-size nuclear reactor. This could lead to a powerful near-shore defense force made up of submarines that are quiet, fast, and hard to find. These subs would be perfect for operations around Taiwan, the South China Sea, and other nearby waters. They wouldn't need to travel around the world like some American nuclear subs, but they wouldn't need to. They'd be designed to dominate their own backyard. If China moves forward with more of these boats, it could reshape how undersea warfare works in Asia. The US and its allies would have to work even harder to detect and defend against these quiet threats, especially if they appear suddenly during a crisis. But that's not all this submarine represents. It is also a creative answer to an old problem. How do you keep a mostly non-nuclear sub-powered underwater for long periods without giving away its position? Usually, diesel-electric submarines need to recharge their batteries with diesel engines. To do that, they either have to come up to the surface or rise just enough to stick out a breathing tube, known as a snort mask, so the engines can get air. But the second they do that, they risk being seen and attacked. The other option is to go fully nuclear. Nuclear-powered subs don't need air and can stay hidden deep underwater for months. But those kinds of subs cost a lot of money to build and maintain, so not every Navy can afford them. That's why many countries try a third path, installing something called air-independent propulsion, or AIP, in their smaller submarines. AIP is a clever way to help diesel subs stay underwater longer without needing to come up for air. There are different versions of AIP. Some use liquid oxygen to burn fuel and make electricity. Others rely on fuel cells, which quietly produce power through a chemical process. Then there's the Japanese Navy, which has taken a bold step by building submarines that use lithium-ion batteries. These are the same kinds of batteries found in electric cars and phones, but much larger and more powerful. They store a lot more energy than regular sub-batteries, allowing longer underwater trips. But AIP systems come with their own risks. They're not easy to build or operate. They involve lots of sensitive parts, and if something goes wrong, the results can be dangerous. Every country trying to build AIP technology faces challenges, and even the slightest design flaw can create serious problems. China, like many others, has been working on these kinds of systems, but progress hasn't been easy. Experts say the Chinese Navy has had a hard time developing advanced fuel cell systems, like the ones used by the German, South Korean, and Singaporean navies. These countries have managed to design and use AIP systems that are quiet, reliable, and effective. China has also stayed away from using lithium-ion batteries in its submarines, even though Japan has shown that it's possible. Most submarine designers still worry that these batteries are too risky, since they can overheat or even catch fire if not handled correctly. That's what makes China's new submarine design so interesting. Instead of using a complicated AIP system or risky high-powered batteries, they've tried something different: a small nuclear reactor that's just big enough to recharge the boat's batteries while it stays underwater. This way, the submarine doesn't need to surface or snort for air, and it doesn't rely on delicate AIP parts or dangerous battery tech. It's a smart middle ground, a mix of the quietness of diesel subs and the endurance of nuclear ones, without the full costs or dangers of either. While China still has work to do to perfect this idea, it shows they're thinking creatively. If this new system works, it could change how small submarines operate, making them harder to find and better at sneaking around in shallow waters. Other navies will surely be paying close attention, because if China figures it out first, the underwater game might never be the same again. But while it sounds like a dream come true, there are areas of concern. Chinese experts have raised serious concerns about the use of advanced battery systems in submarines, especially when it comes to safety. One of the biggest dangers they point out is something called thermal runaway. This happens when a battery overheats uncontrollably, which can lead to fires, even while a submarine is deep underwater. In that situation, a fire isn't just dangerous, it could be deadly. Inside a submerged vessel, there's nowhere to escape, and even a small fire could quickly turn into a disaster. Because of this, some believe that using a small nuclear reactor to charge submarine batteries might be a smarter and safer option, especially for a navy like China's, which hasn't fully mastered other advanced air-independent propulsion systems. A tiny nuclear reactor doesn't get as hot as fast and is less likely to overheat compared to risky lithium-ion batteries or complex fuel cell systems. That makes it a more stable way to power a submarine while it remains hidden beneath the waves. According to analyst Dr. Sarah Kirchberger and retired U.S. Navy Captain Christopher Carlson, this nuclear-powered battery system could give China's new Type 041 submarine the ability to stay submerged for up to 20 days at a time. That's a huge leap compared to older diesel-electric submarines, which usually can only remain underwater for about 2 days before needing to surface and recharge. In fact, this new method could give the sub 10 times the underwater endurance of traditional systems. That extra time underwater is more than just a technical upgrade, it's a major strategic advantage. Right now, China's older non-nuclear submarines, like the Type 035 and Type 039 models, face a tough challenge. To move beyond the so-called First Island Chain, a line of territory stretching from Japan down to the Philippines, they usually need to surface or send up a mast to take in air. When they do that, they risk being spotted by US or Allied anti-submarine patrols, putting the entire mission in danger. Any AIP system could help solve that problem by allowing the sub to stay submerged longer. But there's still a catch. Subs powered by conventional AIP systems, such as those using fuel cells or liquid oxygen, can't move very fast while underwater. Their top speed when using these systems is often only between 4 and 6 knots. That means they can't get far or escape quickly if they're spotted. This is where the Type 041's nuclear-charged battery comes into play. If the small reactor allows the sub to not only stay hidden, but also move faster than those traditional AIP subs, it could give China's Navy a big tactical edge. It would be able to sneak past enemy lines, stay off the radar, and potentially launch attacks without ever being seen. Of course, this idea is still being tested. China's new hybrid submarine concept is just beginning to show what it can do. But if the design works and the safety concerns are truly under control, this could be a game changer in modern naval warfare. Instead of picking between quiet but limited diesel subs or powerful but noisy nuclear ones, China may have found a third option that combines the best of both worlds. Other navies will definitely be watching closely, and they have to, because whether this advanced submarine is sent out on its own or with a small group, it could force enemy forces, like those of the United States and its allies, to split up and spread thin. This strategy, known as asymmetrical deterrence, could allow China to create confusion among enemy fleets and take control of key battles. The report explains that this kind of tactic would help China's main military forces gain a stronger position in terms of weapons and strength. That kind of edge, it says, could help China win important fights, especially in areas close to its shores, like the South China Sea or near Taiwan. This new sub is believed to be able to take over some of the same missions, usually handled by nuclear-powered submarines. That includes launching surprise attacks on surface ships and carrying out long-distance strikes on land targets. One such target could be the US missile defense system recently set up in the northern Philippines, near China's borders. Beijing has strongly criticized the US move to place its Typhoon missile launchers on Luzon Island. Chinese officials call it a major threat and say it should be removed. The US, however, is not backing down. It is now talking about putting similar systems in Japan, Germany, and Denmark. This is all part of a wider plan to block China's access to key sea routes in the Western Pacific during a time of conflict. As the US and its allies continue to prepare, China's new submarine may become a serious factor in changing the balance. With stronger weapons, longer reach, and more advanced tech, this underwater vessel could soon play a leading role in the next chapter of power struggles beneath the sea. This new deadly nuclear submarine is ready to dominate the seas. Since the Second World War, the open sea has become more than just a travel route and more a battleground where countries with sophisticated and advanced technologies often showcase their military capabilities. The United States, a country with an impressive naval force, has taken over the sea with its new lethal nuclear submarine. What are the capabilities of this submarine? How did these vessels become an important determinant in a country's military? Join us as we explore the capabilities of the United States' new deadliest 2025 nuclear submarine that is ready for action. Nuclear submarines have evolved through multiple generations, each bringing major innovations and improvements to underwater military technology. These advancements have transformed submarines from basic nuclear-powered vessels into highly sophisticated machines capable of long-term missions and remarkable stealth. The first nuclear submarines, developed in the 1950s, marked the start of this revolution. However, they were far from perfect. These early models were loud, which made them easier to detect, and their sonar systems, essential for navigation and detecting threats, were relatively rudimentary. While revolutionary for their time, these submarines were stepping stones toward more advanced designs. By the 1960s and 1970s, second-generation submarines emerged with streamlined hulls designed to enhance their speed and agility underwater. These new shapes not only improved performance, but also made the submarines less detectable. This period saw a shift toward designing vessels that were faster, quieter, and better suited to evade enemy detection systems. The 1980s introduced third-generation submarines, which brought a host of upgrades. These submarines were larger, enabling them to carry more weapons and supplies. They were also built to remain submerged for extended periods, thanks to improved autonomy and onboard systems. Crews benefited from better living conditions, making long missions more manageable. Additionally, many models during this era, such as the U.S. Ohio and Los Angeles classes, were equipped with reactors that could operate for over a decade without refueling. These innovations reduced the need for frequent maintenance, allowing the submarines to remain operational for up to 30 years without major overhauls. In the 1990s, fourth-generation submarines entered service, representing a new era of technological sophistication. These submarines were designed with advanced stealth features, including quieter propulsion systems like water jets and sound-dampening materials that made them nearly undetectable. The weaponry on fourth-generation submarines also saw dramatic improvements. For instance, American submarines could carry up to 50 cruise missiles, significantly boosting their firepower. These submarines became versatile platforms capable of both offensive and defensive missions, from launching nuclear strikes to engaging in conventional warfare. Nuclear submarines also serve different roles based on their classification. One of the most significant types is the ballistic missile submarine, which is designed to carry nuclear-armed missiles. These submarines act as a key component of a nation's deterrent strategy, ensuring that any attack would be met with a powerful response. Ohio-class submarines form the backbone of the U.S. Navy's strategic deterrence capabilities. Each submarine is equipped with 20 Trident 2D5 ballistic missiles, which are some of the most advanced and reliable in the world. These missiles can be armed with two types of warheads: the W-76, delivering a yield of 100 kilotons, and the W-88, offering a much higher yield of 475 kilotons, a single Trident. 2D5 missile can carry either 14 W-76 warheads or 8 W-88 warheads. With a range of 7,350 kilometers, these missiles can strike targets across vast distances, ensuring a robust second strike capability. The Ohio-class submarines are also highly maneuverable for their size, capable of reaching a submerged speed of 25 knots, which enhances their ability to evade detection and operate stealthily. In comparison, Russia's Borei-class submarines serve as the strategic counterpart to the Ohio-class. Each Borei-class submarine is armed with 16 Bulava missiles, each carrying up to 10 warheads, with yields ranging from 100 to 150 kilotons. These submarines are slightly faster than their U.S. counterparts, reaching a maximum submerged speed of 29 knots. This speed provides them with greater mobility, allowing them to operate effectively in diverse underwater environments while remaining elusive to potential adversaries. The second key category of nuclear submarines is the multipurpose class, or SSN. These submarines are versatile and capable of performing various missions, including intelligence gathering, anti-ship warfare, and land attack missions. One of the most advanced in this category is the U.S. Navy's Seawolf-class submarine. These vessels are designed for speed, stealth, and firepower, carrying up to 50 cruise missiles, including Tomahawks and Harpoons. The Seawolf is among the fastest submarines in operation, capable of achieving speeds of up to 35 knots underwater. However, their advanced technology comes at a high cost. Each Seawolf-class submarine costs approximately $4.3 billion, limiting the fleet to only 3 vessels. A more common and cost-effective alternative is the Virginia-class submarine. These submarines are designed for flexibility and affordability, making them the primary multi-purpose submarines in the U.S. Navy. Depending on the specific series, Virginia-class submarines can carry between 12 and 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles, giving them significant strike capabilities. They are slightly slower than the Seawolf class, with a top speed of 34 knots. But their widespread use reflects a balanced approach to cost and performance. Nuclear propulsion systems set these submarines apart from their diesel-electric counterparts. Nuclear-powered submarines can operate underwater for months without surfacing, allowing them to perform extended patrols and evade detection. The autonomy provided by nuclear reactors is unmatched, enabling submarines to cover vast areas and carry out diverse missions. The United States and the United Kingdom have completely phased out diesel-electric submarines, relying exclusively on nuclear propulsion for their fleets. This contrasts with most other nations, which still rely on diesel-electric models due to lower costs and specific operational needs. Only 5 nations operate nuclear-powered submarines: the United States, Russia, China, the United Kingdom, and France. These countries have invested heavily in nuclear technology to maintain strategic advantages at sea. For example, the Seawolf-class submarines are powered by S-6W nuclear reactors, which deliver a thermal output of 300,000 horsepower and shaft power of 57,000 horsepower. This enables the submarine to achieve high speeds and maintain energy-efficient operations. Nuclear submarines are technological marvels designed for stealth and strategic capabilities. One of their key advancements is the use of steam turbines that allow reactors to operate at most of their full power using natural circulation. This system eliminates the need for coolant pumps, drastically reducing noise. The quieter operation is essential for submarines to remain undetected during critical missions, making it a vital feature for modern naval warfare. The history of nuclear submarine accidents provides insight into the challenges of operating these advanced vessels. A total of 8 nuclear-powered submarines have sunk since the introduction of the technology. These include 4 Soviet, 2 Russian, and 2 American submarines. Each incident occurred under different circumstances, laying emphasis on the risks involved in their operations. The USS Thresher sank in 1963 due to hull damage, marking a significant loss for the U.S. Navy and prompting improvements in submarine safety protocols. In Russia, the most notable disaster was the sinking of the Kursk submarine in 2000 during a naval exercise. This tragic incident was caused by the explosion of an experimental torpedo on board, leading to catastrophic damage and the loss of the crew. A major difference between Russian and American nuclear submarines lies in their structural designs. American submarines are typically built with single-hull architecture, where the pressure hull doubles as the external hull. This design minimizes weight and enhances speed and maneuverability. In contrast, Russian submarines often utilize a double-hull design consisting of a strong inner pressure hull and an outer lightweight streamlined hull. Despite these differences, there is a growing trend towards single-hull designs in submarine construction. Advances in material science have played a crucial role in this shift. The U.S. Navy, for instance, uses high-strength HY-100 steel in its submarines, which allows the hull to withstand immense pressure at great depths. This material significantly enhances the survivability of single-hull submarines, narrowing the gap in durability between single-hull and double-hull designs. As technology progresses, even stronger materials are expected to emerge, further improving the structural integrity and overall capabilities of future submarines. The internal configuration of nuclear submarines is also worth noting. Submarines are divided into compartments with the number of sections depending on the vessel's design and purpose. Ohio-class submarines, for example, are divided into 4 main compartments. Among these, the second compartment is particularly significant. It houses 24 missile silos that run vertically through the entire height of the compartment. Each silo is sealed with a hydraulically operated lid, ensuring the protection and rapid deployment of missiles. This compartment is crucial for the submarine's role as a strategic deterrent, capable of delivering powerful nuclear strikes if required. In addition to structural advancements, propulsion and weapon systems in nuclear submarines continue to evolve. Noise reduction technologies such as natural circulation reactors and improved hull designs make modern submarines more difficult to detect. The combination of stealth, firepower, and survivability ensures that nuclear submarines remain critical assets for naval operations and national security. The missile launch system of the Ohio-class submarine is built for security and reliability under extreme conditions. The shaft lid is designed to seal tightly and endure pressures equal to the surrounding solid structure, ensuring no external damage or interference can occur. A locking mechanism is integrated to prevent unauthorized access. Inside the shaft is a starting cup, which is protected by a dome-shaped membrane made of phenolic resin reinforced with ASAS. This membrane acts as a barrier to keep water out when the lid is opened during pre-launch operations. Upon missile launch, explosive charges destroy the membrane, breaking it into central and side fragments to clear the shaft for the missile's exit. The Ohio-class submarine uses the advanced Mk-98 fire control system, enabling rapid readiness and launch of its missiles. The system can prepare all missiles for launch within 15 minutes. It calculates firing data, inputs the data into the missiles, performs pre-launch diagnostics, and confirms readiness. If necessary, the system can reassign targets for all missiles before launch. The launch process begins with a powder pressure accumulator, which generates gas by burning gunpowder. The gas passes through a water chamber where it is partially cooled and then enters the lower part of the launch cup. This process creates enough pressure to push the missile upward with an acceleration of approximately 10 Gs, ejecting it from the shaft at a speed of about 50 meters per second. As the missile ascends, the diaphragm at the top of the shaft ruptures, allowing the missile to pass through. Simultaneously, seawater starts to fill the shaft. To maintain the submarine's stability, the seawater is pumped into a dedicated replacement tank, ensuring the submarine remains at a consistent depth and position. Gyroscopic stabilizers and water ballast systems further manage the submarine's balance during launch operations. Missiles can be launched in rapid intervals of 15 to 20 seconds, even at depths of 30 meters, speeds of 5 knots, and in sea conditions with waves as high as 6 points. In cases of maximum operational demand, the entire missile load can be fired in a single coordinated salvo. Once the missile exits the shaft, its engine activates at an altitude of 10 to 30 meters above the water's surface, ensuring effective propulsion and trajectory. The Trident missiles carried by Ohio-class submarines are known for their precision and long range. These capabilities allow them to target and destroy heavily fortified locations, such as silo launchers and deeply buried command centers. Their extended range enables submarines to operate in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans while remaining within U.S. naval protective zones, increasing their combat stability. This positioning allows the submarines to maintain constant readiness while staying well protected. Ohio-class submarines represent a critical component of the U.S. nuclear triad, with their effectiveness and low maintenance costs making them indispensable. They currently carry 2,116 of the 3,492 deployed nuclear warheads, accounting for 60% of the U.S. strategic arsenal. For multi-purpose nuclear submarines, launch silos have been replaced with universal systems equipped with drum magazines for deploying torpedoes, cruise missiles, and surface-to-surface missiles. The onboard nuclear reactors allow these submarines to operate for extended periods without resupply, enhancing their range and autonomy. This combination of advanced systems and enduring operational capabilities ensures Ohio-class submarines remain a vital asset in maintaining U.S. strategic deterrence. Modern nuclear submarines are engineering marvels capable of extended underwater missions. Theoretically, these vessels can undertake autonomous voyages lasting up to 6 months. However, in practice, the average mission duration for most submarines globally is closer to 2 to 3 months. This discrepancy is not due to technological limitations, such as running out of air, but for other, more practical reasons. Contrary to what many might assume, air supply is not a critical constraint for nuclear submarines. These vessels require a significant amount of air, not only to sustain the 150 to 160 crew members on board, but also for other operations such as surfacing, which involves blowing water tanks, and launching torpedoes from torpedo tubes. Despite these demands, air shortages are avoided through advanced onboard systems. Modern nuclear submarines use water electrolysis to generate oxygen. This process, which splits water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, ensures a continuous supply of breathable air even during prolonged missions, effectively removing air supply as a limiting factor. The primary obstacle to extended submarine operations is human psychology. Spending long durations in confined, isolated spaces with the same small group of people presents significant mental and emotional challenges. Crew members must endure limited personal space, repetitive tasks, and a lack of fresh social interactions. The psychological strain caused by these factors becomes the main reason why missions are typically capped at 2 to 3 months. Efforts to mitigate these challenges include rotating crews and implementing strict routines. But the mental toll remains a significant limitation for prolonged underwater deployments. Looking ahead, the development of fifth-generation nuclear submarines is set to redefine underwater operations. These submarines will incorporate state-of-the-art technologies to enhance performance, safety, and combat capabilities. The United States has taken a leading position in this race, surpassing Russia in key areas of submarine innovation. For example, the American Seawolf-class submarines already feature advanced modular reactors. These reactors are housed in separate compartments and require no maintenance throughout the submarine's 40-year operational life. By contrast, Russia is still in the development phase of integrating such technologies. Another groundbreaking feature of the Seawolf class is the inclusion of autonomous rescue capsules. These capsules are designed to evacuate the entire crew in emergencies, significantly improving safety. Future submarines are also expected to retain duplicated reactor systems for added redundancy and reliability. Their propulsion systems will likely feature a water hammer mechanism controlled by a secondary electric motor during standard operations and by a reactor turbine during high-speed maneuvers. This dual system will enhance both efficiency and versatility. Automation will play a crucial role in these next-generation submarines. Fully automated control systems will centralize the crew in a single, highly protected module, reducing the need for personnel to move through various compartments. This will not only improve safety, but also address some of the psychological challenges of confined living spaces. In terms of weaponry, future submarines will be equipped with advanced armaments, including hypersonic missiles. These weapons, such as the Russian Poseidon II-M39, represent a significant leap in underwater combat capabilities. Hypersonic missiles are designed to travel at extraordinary speeds, making them nearly impossible to intercept. This Poseidon is an impressive underwater weapon designed for strategic nuclear deterrence. It is essentially a massive, autonomous torpedo powered by a nuclear propulsion system, enabling it to travel long distances underwater without requiring surface support. This weapon is equipped with a megaton-class nuclear warhead capable of catastrophic destruction. While specific details about Poseidon's technical specifications are scarce, estimates place its length between 16 and 24 meters, its diameter at 1.5 to 2 meters, and its weight at approximately 100 tons. The system can reportedly reach speeds of up to 70 knots and operate at depths of up to 1,000 meters, making it highly stealthy and difficult to intercept. Its primary purpose is to ensure devastating consequences for coastal regions, particularly those of adversaries. Its nuclear warhead is designed to create widespread destruction through explosive force and long-term radioactive contamination. This contamination would render affected areas uninhabitable for extended periods, crippling urban centers, infrastructure, and natural ecosystems. The weapon's strategic value lies in its ability to act as a powerful deterrent by guaranteeing unacceptable levels of damage in retaliation to aggression. Despite its technological advancements and destructive potential, the practicality of the Poseidon has been questioned by military experts. One major criticism is its operational speed. While capable of traveling long distances underwater, Poseidon's journey to its target could take several days. This makes it significantly slower compared to modern missile systems, which can deliver nuclear payloads within minutes. In high-stakes conflicts where rapid response is critical, the Poseidon's slow deployment time reduces its effectiveness as a reliable strategic weapon. Another issue is its overlap with existing nuclear arsenals. Modern intercontinental ballistic missiles and submarine-launched ballistic missiles are already capable of delivering precise and devastating nuclear strikes. These systems are faster, more accurate, and easier to deploy in various scenarios. Additionally, missile-based systems are less complex and more cost-effective compared to the development and maintenance of a nuclear-powered torpedo like Poseidon. The geopolitical implications of Poseidon's development also raise questions about its future. As tensions between Russia and Western nations persist, the weapon's existence serves as a symbol of strategic aggression. However, in a potential post-Putin Russia, there could be efforts to reduce reliance on such extreme weapons to improve international relations. Abandoning or scaling back Poseidon and similar projects might be seen as a step toward de-escalation and normalization of diplomatic ties. However, its practical application in modern warfare is limited due to its slow deployment and redundancy alongside faster, more accurate missile systems. While it remains a formidable deterrent, its long-term role in Russia's military strategy is uncertain, particularly as global political dynamics shift and new priorities emerge. America has always done its best in trying to pave way for the future, or so they say. Just recently, the country that is on the edge of a new recession had launched and tested a project worth $1 billion. This aircraft is set to revolutionize the U.S. Navy's tactics contrary to modern underwater threats, primarily submarines from other world powers. Why such a massive investment? How does this new technology compare to current systems in this kind of aircraft? Last but not least, what subsequent impacts might this innovation make on international security and defense cooperation? Join us as we go through how the U.S. tests the historic $1 billion anti-submarine aircraft. In the depths of the world's oceans, rival states are gradually securing the silent and sophisticated means of projecting power. Nuclear-powered boats intended for deterrence, reconnaissance, and attack pose a significant threat to conventional naval forces. The United States, therefore, has relied on systems such as the P-3 Orion and P-8 Poseidon for decades now to maintain an edge in underwater warfare. But new threats require radical changes. China's Type 094 Jin-class nuclear ballistic missile submarines and Russia's Yasin-class submarines represent advanced stealth capabilities. These platforms are deliberately created to avoid any form of detection by conventional methods, hence being a clear and present danger to world peace, particularly to the American Navy. To counter these advancements, the U.S. Navy has turned to an ambitious project, a multi-mission modern warfare aircraft designed specifically for tracking and eliminating submarines at sea with stealth, speed, and surveillance capabilities. The increased use of underwater battle equipment cannot be overlooked either. The United States cannot afford to ignore the potential of advanced submarines for its enemies, from spying to possible missile shots. This aircraft will spring up as one of the key tools in the U.S.'s countervailing strategy, a weapon with several purposes that helps to identify, track, and counter these threats before they become vulnerabilities on the security front. This billion-dollar aircraft is a game-changer because it is designed to operate AI-driven sonars, underwater drone compatibility, and real-time threat assessment of the enemy. With these advances in detection, this innovation guarantees that the United States remains dominant in sea weapon warfare. Anti-submarine warfare, called for short the ASW, has come a long way since the Second World War. The evolution of destroyers was initiated with sonar equipment built into the destroyers, aircraft carrying depth charges, and many other improvements that triggered the current developments. In the latter part of the Cold War, ASW was a necessity since the North Atlantic Treaty Organization attempted to neutralize Soviet submarine forces. There were also significant platforms of long-range maritime patrol and anti-submarine warfare, such as the Lockheed P-3 Orion that was first ushered in the 60s. The evolution proceeded to the P-3 Orion, which boasted more sophisticated sonar, magnetic anomaly detection MAD, and enhanced range and endurance to locate submarines in hostile geographical areas. People and technology went hand in hand, and that is how the Orion was of great value during the Cold War confrontations. This aircraft's capability to address new threats as they emerged demonstrated the ASW development dynamics. Another big step was made with the coming of Boeing's P-8 Poseidon. First activated in the 2010s, the Poseidon integrated cutting-edge radar technology, enhanced endurance, and strong armed weaponry, making it a cornerstone of the modern ASW arsenals. However, the P-8 lacks effectiveness in dealing with hypersonic underwater vehicles and ultra-quiet submarines, making the need for next-generation solutions quite evident. This $1 billion aircraft furthers this concept with futuristic features such as a quantum navigation system, electromagnetic detection array, and drone deployment system. The capacity to expand detection range, reduce response time, and provide mission compatibility across the spectrum will give this aircraft a significant chance to revolutionize ASW. This anti-submarine aircraft, which embodies aviation history, is equipped with a set of innovations. Its sensor systems include new generation sonar arrays that can distinguish between natural sea manifestations and man-made objects with the highest level of precision. Also, its quantum navigation system reduces the dependence on GPS, thus making it possible to maintain consistency with the system's operations in regions where GPS signals may be interfered with. One of the best options is the integration of its activities with autonomous underwater drones. These affixed drones can be released mid-flight to increase the surveillance range of the parent aircraft. Mounted with personal high-definition cameras and microphones, they are force multipliers that can cover multiple targets at once. In addition, it has an artificial intelligence on board that processes and forebodes vast data flows in real time and can find patterns that operators could miss. The aircraft has a powerful propulsion system that ensures it deploys for many hours, while it is hard for the enemy radar to locate it. Advanced materials make it difficult to detect on radar, apart from in areas that are heavily watched. On the other hand, it has sharpened weapon systems, such as precision-guided torpedoes and payloads that address emergent submarine threats with little impact on other parties. It is also important to mention that the aircraft is integrated with next-generation communication systems to optimize data link sharing across naval and allied forces. This integration will enable a commander to make timely decisions based on tactical intelligence obtained on the actual battlefield. With these capabilities, the $1 billion anti-submarine aircraft holds the record of being one of the greatest marvels of engineering. The appearance of this aircraft in the United States arsenal caused waves across the global map. It also offers allies the chance to expand cooperation in coast security, especially in the South China Sea and the Arctic. For adversaries, it highlights the increasing problem of how to deal with the United States' technological advantage. China, and in particular Russia, are known to have advanced their submarine capabilities significantly, especially in the context of asymmetric warfare. Beijing's focus on anti-access/area denial A2AD capabilities, and Moscow's emphasis on strategic deterrence through sun-powered submarine-terminated ballistic missiles are both troubled here. When the aircraft is applied, these nations might have to reconsider their underwater tactics, which may lead to the emergence of new developments in submarines. Also, the aircraft's capacity to share data in real time contributes to the overall North Atlantic Treaty Organization alliance. Since it offers targeting information to friendly fleets, it facilitates the development of a joint response to threats, thus improving the general safety of the forces on the field. On the other hand, such developments might also lead to an arms race, therefore triggering concerns of volatility in maritime spheres. Countermeasures like the stealth technologies on submarines or having advanced electronic warfare add complexity to this changing balance. The incorporation of this aircraft into combined defense plans has also refocused attention on critical axes of communication, such as the Malacca and Bosporus Straits. Protection of such critical avenues has remained a key factor in member states' defense strategies. To such a degree, how will these dynamics prepare the future of international defense collaborations? Well, the historic anti-submarine aircraft is not only an American product, it is also a call to world partnership for defense. Other nations like Australia, the United Kingdom, and Japan, which have similar threats to their maritime security, will benefit from this kind of technology. Combined practice and intelligence cooperation strengthen the aircraft's value. In waters of the Indo-Pacific, where China's naval power is posing a strategic challenge, this aircraft helps Quad, which consists of countries named Australia, India, Japan, and the United States, to uphold freedom of navigation. Likewise, in the Arctic region, where the ice is melting and new sea lines of communication are becoming operational, this platform assists the North Atlantic Treaty Organization in tracking Russian movements. Such cooperation measures guarantee the utilization of the aircraft capacities and promote confidence amongst the partners. Nevertheless, some issues are associated with reliance on such advanced technology. These systems may not be easily incorporated into the fleets of smaller countries, hence the need for capacity-building programs. Further, access to secured technology also creates questions about the security of technology and its ownership. The management of the collaborative relationship, as well as the general balance between sharing information and maintaining strategic differentiators, remains a rather challenging endeavor. However, the place of the aircraft in enhancing partnerships cannot be underemphasized. What will this mean in the future of innovation, in the competition of the defense industry? The evolution and experimentation of this aircraft are not simply hinting at the military's evolution. They benefit the U.S. defense business. Companies such as Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon have been involved in taking charge of this project with more vigor. The ripple impacts are passed down to subcontractors and suppliers, benefiting the nation's economy through growth and employment. This project also shed light on the emerging relationship and confluence of private sector development and military requirements. For instance, this world-class aircraft relies on technologies such as AI, quantum computing, and advanced materials originally intended for the civil industry. Such synergism helps enhance technological advancement within various industries. However, the $1 billion price tag makes it questionable when it comes to the cost-benefit analysis and opportunity costs. Could these funds have been channeled elsewhere to other significant national defense sectors? Critics say that proponents of high-technology approaches may draw resources away from more important concerns, such as the training of sailors and the refurbishing of current fleets. However, they argue that such investments are crucial for being at par, especially given the rate of technological advancement in the market. In addition, the success of this aircraft bolsters the United States defense export market and makes it one of the prominent producers of sophisticated military technology. It might also lead to an increase in market share, whose benefits could, in turn, fund further innovations. This is a virtuous triangle of technological advancement and economy. The United States has a long history of creating specific aircraft designs for conducting anti-submarine warfare in the middle of the 20th century. The Grumman TBF Avenger in the Second World War brought airborne ASW capability with radar and depth charge installation to track submarines while in the deep sea. This innovation served as the hallmark of the revolution that characterized naval aviation from that time forward. In the Cold War, the most famous aircraft was the Lockheed P-2 Neptune, which provided increased range and payload. The P-3 Orion followed it. This aircraft was associated with modern ASW capabilities. This tragic catastrophe is regarded as the benchmark for magnetic anomaly detection and advanced sonobuoys for MPAs worldwide, incorporated in the Orion. From then until the early years of the 21st century, the Boeing P-8 Poseidon introduced new opportunities to the field that became the mainstay of U.S. naval ASW operations. This allowed it to fill multiple roles, making it a valuable tool in both force projections and intelligence-gathering applications. These have featured evolutionary development from the current generation of $1 billion anti-submarine aircraft currently undergoing testing. Modern inventions and gadgets add up to these forerunners' proving points to an unending quest for dominance of sea power. In what way does this newest addition pay respect to all previous movies, starting from scratch, yet creating a pathway of advancement in ship safety? The fact that the project had an estimated cost of $1 billion has elicited controversy regarding the project's financial feasibility. The critics raise the possibility of whether resources dedicated to such sophisticated projects could be used to solve other urgent needs of the defense, for instance, to maintain some fleets and train sailors. Of the many consequences, one of the more shadowy but pertinent ones is the formation of naval doctrines. In the past, a submarine's attacking technique depended on its ability to hide and use the opportunity to strike. The arrival of an aircraft capable of tracking ultra-quiet submarines over very long ranges is highly transformative. Given this, the commanders of the submarines must now focus on anti-counter detection methods, such as the usage of decoys and electronic warfare means, which in turn shifts the future designs and operations of the submarines. Environmental factors also come out as another factor that will define this development. The detection systems of the aircraft have been noted to be unequaled. Not to mention the sonar that the aircraft uses to identify vessels has also been associated with negative impacts on marine life. Marine mammals, including whales and dolphins, usually reach the sharp end of sonar because of the high-pitched sound waves that they produce. Finding a good balance between maintaining operational efficiency that is in harmony with the strengths of the business and being environmentally sensible is not an easy task. It is going to need creative and edgy approaches and policies that should provide much enforcement. Lastly, the implications for maritime security on a global scale cannot be overemphasized. The use of aircraft in formulating joint defense mechanisms with partner countries underlines a concept of modern warfare. While certain tensions have emerged regarding ownership of waters and subsea assets, the deployment of such an enhanced system brings about a preclusion factor as well as a possibility of conflict. What kind of impact will they have on the nature of power and force control and deterrence in the future years? The achievement of designing and developing an anti-submarine aircraft for $1 billion is impressive, but it remains just the first blossoming of what is destined to become the most innovative age of naval aircraft. Such a system is anticipated to be on the horizon shortly, with features that will alter the nature of maritime security and introduce new dominance. One such development is hypersonic technology being inducted into anti-submarine platforms. Unmanned hypersonic vehicles with velocities above Mach 5 are being developed to become operational counterparts to manned aircraft. These drones are equipped with capabilities to release sonar buoys, launch unmanned underwater vehicles, and carry and launch payloads for strikes at higher velocities and accuracy. Due to their mobility and speed, they are virtually unaware of modern defense systems. They are a continuation of anti-submarine forces. Another groundbreaking creation to further revolutionize underwater detection is quantum sensing technology. This contradicts the typical sonar that uses pressure waves. While a quantum sensor indicates object presence by slight differences in the magnetic fields, this approach increases accuracy and reduces interference, most of which is detected by conventional methods. Furthermore, quantum sensors are not affected by the characteristics of water, such as salinity or temperature, and are thus ideal in various conditions. This concept implies that the next generation of anti-submarine aircraft is expected to be autonomous. Through artificial intelligence and machine learning, these platforms can process large volumes of data in real time and make decisions at the same rate with no reference to those from the human resource department. Self-flying drones can sustain long trips over vast oceanic areas and provide more comprehensive and faster information gathering. The lack of a crew on board also helps to cut expenses and exclude the risk of officers' lives, which makes these systems suitable for the most critical and risky operations in restricted areas. Another area of appreciable innovation is the future propulsion systems. Hybrid electric engines and fuel cells are currently in the developmental stage to increase operating distance and minimize emissions. These advances suggest the potential for increased endurance of aircraft and related equipment, like drones and sonobuoys. Making fuel efficiency paramount and lowering emissions, these propulsion systems are in line with other initiatives to generate greener militaries. Weapons are also moving through this phase change. High-powered lasers are among directed energy weapons built to counter threats like underwater drones, which are being developed, torpedoes, and much more. These weapons provide high accuracy of target designation and unlimited shells, which indicates a serious step forward in protection. At the same time, the development of new missiles and the miniaturization of existing ones make it possible to increase payload capacities without any penalty in aircraft performance. Another concept in active development could be considered the airborne carrier for autonomous systems. Such enormously large craft could act as motherships that could employ and recover a cluster of drones and AI-controlled submersibles in midair. Such an arrangement would allow for uninterrupted surveillance of the seas over large territories and prevent any areas in the ocean from being left uncovered. Such a platform would not only improve the situational awareness of the armed forces, but also lead to the generation of new opportunities for coincident multi-domain actions. Military and civilian industries have vital roles in these breakthroughs, and their cooperation ensures these improvements. Firms developing artificial intelligence, renewable resources, and robot programs cooperate with defense companies to implant up-to-date technology into anti-submarine weapon systems. Such strategic associations guarantee that future aircraft not only include advanced amenities, but also involve efficiency and flexibility in performance aspects. However, the emergence of such next-generation systems is not without hitches. High costs, long development and testing phases, and the challenges associated with modifying the existing military architecture present some of the biggest challenges. However, the political consequences behind the utilization of such sophisticated technology have to be taken into account when one considers that they may unbalance further the already sensitive international relations. Despite all these problems, innovation continues to be a never-ending search. These emerging technologies hold the key to fashioning the leverage of a new maritime security order of the future, which is much talked about in science fiction. While it's true that this will help the world and mostly America too, there is a weird question on the public's lips, which is this the next thing on the list to do when the country is struggling to be? But only time will tell if it's the right thing or not. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.